Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot for sticking around for the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Rich Walsh will be joined by Brian Batko in a matter of moments. And you can give us a call tonight at 412-575-2600. We got a lot to talk about here definitely tonight. Also, our live poll question. We'll get to that in a second. 412-575-2600. And our live poll Penn West question of the night. You can scan that QR code whenever it pops up in the right-hand corner of the screen. Will Penn State fire head coach James Franklin? And that's probably the biggest news of the day here in Pennsylvania. Maybe not in Pittsburgh because Pitt had a nice win at Florida State. We'll get to that in a second. But, it was an embarrassment up in Happy Valley. Brian, I normally don't start with Penn State, but this was such a bad loss for the Nittany Lions once. Looked at as a national championship contender. Potentially, people were saying they should have been ranked #1 in the country. Well, the last 2 weeks, I haven't seen anything like it. A team that, is you would think can contend for the best team in the country loses as a 3-touchdown dog on the road in UCLA to a winless UCLA team. I know they had a good win today. And then embarrassed at home to Northwestern.
Yeah, they're clearly the biggest disappointment in college football this season, Rich. And we talked about the game last night on the show, and I basically just brushed it off as obviously Penn State's going to win. It might not be by a lot, but Northwestern on the road in State College, a team that has no pros or probably very few pros against a team that is loaded with NFL potential. At least that's what we thought coming into the season. And yeah, I think the writing is on the wall for James Franklin. I don't know that they'll fire him, but I think he would probably even see maybe the upside in, let me just look for another job. We'll come to an amicable parting of ways. I know that buyout is hefty, but it's run its course. It's got to be done for them now after this loss.
Has it? In the grand scheme of things, it's only 2 losses. I understand it's probably 2 historic losses. But you get over this, and, they can still finish with a winning season. I know it's going to be tough because you have Indiana and Ohio State coming up here very soon, and I think those are both going to be losses. But it seems like he's lost the team. And that's a reason to fire someone, in my opinion, if they lost the team. But is he going to get a better job? I don't think so. I think he's a really good recruiter. He's making a ton of money. Why do you think he'd want to leave? Is it just because the whole fan base hates him? But you're going to get that everywhere.
No, he would have a fresh start somewhere else. You could be the guy coming in, and yeah, it's not going to be a better job than Penn State football, but at least you'll be coming in with a fresh slate. You'll be the new face in town. You'll get a chance to start from scratch. As much as, I don't know how much of it is losing the team, but I think he certainly lost the fan base, the alumni base, the donor base. And I hear what you're saying, that they could bounce back. It could be sort of a poor man's version of what Ohio State did last year, right? Where they lose to their biggest rival in Michigan for their second loss of that season, yet they still get in the playoff. Then what do you know? They run the table and win the whole thing. I'm sure there are still some people in Columbus who would maybe trade that for a win against that team up north. That's how deranged some of that hatred is in that rivalry. But even if they do bounce back with the backup quarterback and finish, say, 8-4, 7-5. It would feel like they've already hit their ceiling. If this wasn't the year to truly get over the hump and break through for Franklin, it's just never going to happen.
Singleton came back, Aller came back, and they came back because they thought this team could win a national title. It's such a disappointment in the not-so-happy Valley right now. I think those 2 losses are worse than anything we've seen in recent years at Pitt.
Yeah, because of the expectations. I think some people could understand. I think there was frustration from Nittany Lions fans losing that game to Oregon, but you can understand it because Oregon's a really good team. And then you would feel better about, hey, we still have a lot of the season in front of us. The college football playoffs expanded. If they learn from that and improve, they could still win it all. But, now with these back-to-back losses, I don't know what's going on with this team. And, yeah, you add the Drew Aller injury on top of it. What a sad way for him to go out. And I know there's a lot of, people kind of out there with the mindset now of he didn't have to come back. He probably could have been a first-rounder in this past year's NFL draft that was fairly weak at the quarterback position. But then again, maybe he knew that he wasn't quite ready, and he would have done himself a disservice to go pro last season. I think with the way he's played this year, and I'm not saying it's all on him, I think some of the play calling, the offensive structure, everything really has not been a great situation for him as a quarterback. But he also has to get it done himself, and he didn't do that, and now he's not even going to get a chance to right that ship.
I want to get to Pitt, and we'll do that after the break, but I do want to ask one more question about Penn State. I know the Steelers are interested in Drew Aller. Where does he fall now? You're missing the rest of the season. He hasn't been good through, the first handful of games. How far does he fall in this year's upcoming draft? I mean, I don't think he's a first rounder.
No.
Even if he has a good, off season, good workouts, I still think his best bet is the fourth round maybe?
Yeah, and some of the lasting images that the teams are going to have of him is that pick in the playoff last year. Didn't do much this year against good competition to really wash that away. So, no, I think he's going to be just a guy in this upcoming draft, and you're going to see some of the other players who have taken a step forward get more of that first-round buzz. But even in the big picture, Rich, and we were talking about this off air before we came down here, what we thought was going to be a ballyhooed 2026 NFL quarterback class, there's not a lot of great options right now through a little more than half the season. Maybe somebody will still skyrocket up the boards, but a lot of the big names coming in have not lived up to expectations, and I wouldn't say there's been any sort of meteoric rise like a Joe Burrow type thus far.
Which could bode well for the Steelers next year with all those picks, and they might not have to use one in the first round on a quarterback. All right, we're going to take a break. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. You can see Desmond Reed versus Florida State. 20 touches, 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 155 receiving. Pretty good day there for Desmond Reed, and he makes a huge difference, Brian. And I definitely want to talk about right now Pitt, big win at Florida State. Not only Desmond Reed, but Mason Heinchel really has turned this team around. Look, he's a freshman. He threw for 321 today, had a couple touchdowns, but also had two, I would say one really bad interception in the end zone, which got Eli Holstein benched. You can't do that, especially right before the half. I thought that was a backbreaker. I thought that was going to be devastating for Pitt, but they proved me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if you watched last night's show, you're looking at two guys right here who picked Pitt to win in Tallahassee as 10.5-point underdogs. So we'll give ourselves a nice little pat on the back for that, Rich. But yeah, Heinchel played well again. I mean, the first pick was, he's taking a shot downfield. It amounted to what a punt would have been for the most part. That second one, yeah, it was bad, but let's remember, he's a true freshman. He's 18, 19 years old. I mean, you got to get that out of your system early. At some point. You're not going to have a flawless run here, let alone, playing in a hostile environment like the Doak against the Seminoles with the tomahawk chop playing every 10 seconds, it seemed like, during that game. But yeah, the return of Des Reed, huge. Heinchel really stepping up late. And you called it a nice win at the start of the show. I'd say that's a really nice win because I said last night I wasn't huge on Castellanos, the Florida State quarterback, but he played out of his mind too with some of those throws, and they still found a way to win. That was huge, and again, it is a renewed sense of juice for this Pitt season now. Yeah, and you would have never said this probably 2 months ago that Pitt has better odds to make it to the postseason than Penn State. I don't think either one will make it, definitely not Penn State. But Pitt has an outside shot. If they can rattle off some wins here, get to the ACC championship game, you never know what can happen. They just got to string some wins together, and I know that schedule gets tough at the end of the season, though. But Heinschel's so encouraging, and my social media algorithm gives me a lot of the NFL draft nicks, Rich, and those guys were saying, wow, this Pitt freshman can sling it. Look at what this guy's doing. Look at some of the plays he's making out of structure, the off-platform throws. I mean, it's just, he made it look easy. We say that a lot as a cliche, but he really did make a lot of that look easy with the way he was. And the big thing I didn't realize that he had in him, at least that, from one game of watching him against Boston College, the mobility was a lot better than I expected. He was ripping off chunks on the ground, taking what the defense gave him. That is just a very positive sign for the rest of this year. All right, let's go out to Frank in Pasadena. How you doing, Frank?
Rich, Brian, how are you doing tonight?
Thanks for calling.
All right. Yeah, no, just to expand on the Panthers, just a reinvigoration, like you mentioned, Brian, with Heinzel kind of coming in and giving this team a spark. But I think looking at the schedule from here, Syracuse, NC State, Stanford on paper, 3 games that you would think that Pitt should be favored in, even though a couple of them on the road. And then, an exciting matchup, hopefully with Notre Dame sitting at 7-2 and an opportunity at home that we may not have anticipated in the past. So kind of speaking Narduzzi and always find a way to kind of get back in it when you least expect it. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, I mean, these are 3 games that they should win, right? Notre Dame, then you have Miami towards the end of the season. Those are teams that you marked off as losses. But getting back to Heinzel, and I know both of us heard rumblings at the beginning that, hey, he was making really an impression, opening some eyes in those off-season workouts and training camp workouts, but he wasn't going to get a shot because Eli Holstein is making a ton of money in NIL.
And I just don't think people thought he was going to falter as badly as he did. I think there was optimism for both QBs at the top of the depth chart, and it's unfortunate for Holstein how it played out. But, to Frank's point, and thanks for the call, like after the backyard brawl and then the Louisville game compounded on top of that, and how poorly Holstein played, it seemed like this season was basically a wash. And now, I mean, there's some bounce in their step. Narduzzi even got to dig in at Florida State after the game. I don't know if you saw that, kind of taking a shot at their offensive line. And I guess he said their defensive line was talking some smack about Pitt's O-line. So it's always funny when you get an ornery Pat Narduzzi, too, sticking his chest out after a big win on the road.
We all know that ornery Pat Narduzzi. He's come out a few times.
Yep.
Let's go out to the G-Man in Bethel Park. How you doing, G-Man?
Good, guys. I just wanted to talk about the Pitt quarterback. If you watched the interceptions that he threw, the first one obviously is like a punt, because if they knocked it away, it was like a 50-yard punt.
Sure.
But the second one, they were saying it was a bad throw, but you saw the guy cutting in, and he tripped and was falling. And if he didn't fall, that ball would have probably been a little above his helmet. So it was a catchable ball if you watched that.
I just don't think you don't get too dangerous. I think it was a dangerous throw. That's basically what I was saying. You never want to throw an interception in the end zone when a chance to score, because that really turned things around, because Florida State went and scored with 6 seconds to go. And that's when I thought it was over for Pitt.
Philosophically, though, at least he's taking some chances. He's not out there playing scared. I mean, I think that can hamstring an offense, too. And I feel like we see that so often with the other football team in town, the Steelers. I mean, there's always been such a big emphasis on don't turn the ball over. We got to be allergic to interceptions. Well, sometimes if you're not throwing picks, that means you're not really trying to attack either. I mean, some of Ben Roethlisberger's best seasons and most productive seasons when that offense was humming, there's going to be some interceptions thrown in there because you're trying to push the ball downfield and you're going to get another chance, another crack at it, even if the other team does catch it. So, all in all, though, I say that to say Heinzel has been really impressive 2 games in. And, I know some people are wondering, man, where would they be if he would have started the season? I feel like you can't really entertain that too much, because it's not like Eli Holstein was a bum for all of last season. He had good pedigree. There was a lot of excitement for him coming in. And also, let's not forget Des Reed's injury probably impacted this team as well.
All right, well, speaking of, I know we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, comparing it to like Kenny Pickett and Max Brown's situation. Well, we're here almost, you would think. What happens with Holstein now? I mean, I would imagine he can't stay here beyond this year, right?
Yeah, and the other unfortunate side effect of college football in the year 2025, too, is you already have people asking, are they going to be able to keep Mason Heinzel if he balls out? It's almost like following the Pirates when they get a good draft pick. You're loving it in the moment, but in the back of your mind, you're dreading how long is this player going to be here. So hopefully Pitt can figure that out. Obviously, they did for Holstein, and we'd be getting way ahead of ourselves to predict that major programs in the top 10, top 15 would come calling for a guy like Heinzel, but it is a consideration with every player these days in college football, and Eli Holstein is probably going to need a change of scenery somewhere here.
But there is a downside to that. I know we worry about it, but the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I mean, look, I understand that Jordan Addison was a first-round draft pick, but he wasn't as good at USC than he was here. with Pickett.
And their team success wasn't what I think a lot of people thought it would be, too, when he went there. So I get it. I mean, guys chase dollars. There was a really good story, actually, in the Post-Gazette the other day by Stephen Thompson, our Pitt football beat writer, about how Mason Heinschel, growing up in Toledo, could have gone to the private Catholic schools nearby that are football powerhouses, but he stayed loyal to his roots, played for his home local school district, and a lot of reasons to like this kid.
Yeah, so a good win. Do you think this puts the Panthers in the top 25?
No, probably not yet. Florida State had lost 2 in a row to Virginia and Miami anyway, but it's a great way to keep the momentum going for this season.
All right, we're going to take a break right now. Coming back up next, we're going to wrap things up with the Steelers, get our predictions, and big news out of the South Side today. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh with Brian Batko, who's checking his phone. And, hey, Brian, I just got a text from one of my buddies, Jim Dockey, big Pitt fan, and he texted me, Heinschel for Heisman in 2026. The reason I bring this up, because he was the only guy pushing for Kenny Pickett for the Heisman in 2021 before the season started, and he was close. Now, Pickett didn't win the Heisman, but he came close to it.
All right, Jim, from your lips or your fingers, I guess, to New York's ears. But, I was just looking at some of the stats for the Steelers-Browns game tomorrow, Rich. Mike Tomlin, 15-3 after bye weeks, 26-6 against rookie quarterbacks. I mean, this is...
He lost to 2 rookies in 2023, if you remember it, Stroud and DTR.
Yeah, so those were both on the road. The last Steeler, actually the only rookie quarterback to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh under Mike Tomlin, Dak Prescott, 2016.
Oh, wow.
Cowboys. It was a shootout with him and Ben.
All right, so give me your prediction. Big news, obviously, Jalen Ramsey. You called that yesterday. I didn't think he'd play, but he is playing. They took that designation, the questionable designation, off him today. He will be active, and it's the first time we've seen all year, Brian, that this defense is at full strength.
Yeah, I know some people might be worried that they're rushing him back or they're using him in a game that they shouldn't need him, but I think he really is good to go, and I guess they dodged a bullet there with that hamstring injury in Dublin. But I think the Steelers win this pretty convincingly tomorrow. We don't see that often with them, so I'm kind of getting bold with that prediction, but I just feel like there's too much going in their favor, whether it's the personnel, the rest advantage, the bye week, Browns coming off the international travel trip. I think the Steelers win. I'll go 24-10.
All right, I have 20-9. The Steelers are really good when they have a really good record when they score 20 or more points. So I like the Steelers, similar score. I like the Steelers winning 20-9. Both of us think they'll cover. All right, thanks a lot, Brian. We were right on the Pitt prediction, so maybe you should take that into consideration. Thanks a lot, Brian. Thank you. Hopefully we see you on KDKA News right now.